Um, they have a lot of wildlife, and what's interesting about the park area is that on the ceiling it mimics their home worlds of Zenite. And apparently, where the ship was built, they have three moons. I've only seen two as they cross across the sky, and it's all holographic. The ceiling, it's all holographic, and as the moons cross over, one looks terraformed, one does not. Though I understand that there is life on the inside of it, Hyperborean life on this particular moon. But as they cross, and I said, well, why would you do that? And he said, well, because that's how we measure our time. And everyone who's on the ship is considered crew. It doesn't matter if you're a child, an adult, a senior. Well, I don't know what a senior is. I mean, 2,000-year-old people. I mean, well, anyway, it's hard to measure that. But everybody's considered crew, and many of the beings spend their lifetimes on these motherships. In fact, he said many people reincarnate on the starships as well, because they choose to stay attached to specific soul groups. And these soul groups tend to stay together as a family. So they would come back into these families. I do not know how that works on fifth density, but it made sense to me. And that's where I learned about soul groups, which is what I've shared with as many people as I can here. So let's see. So that's how they know time, and the older folks, or the senior folks, the vintage. It's important to them because it reminds them of home, and it helps them remain in sync with the home world, or life as they know it, because their bodies, the ships are built to literally mimic the home world. And because the ships are organic anyway, just like any planet is, it's organic. In the very beginning, when the mass exodus from Lyra began, they didn't have the raw materials to build starships. So what they did was, the ships they did have, they went out and captured asteroids, and they would bring them back, and they would hollow them out, and they would do their best to terraform or create ecosystems on the inside of these ships, and they would build what propulsion systems they needed. They would put it on the surface, typically in a crater, so it would be protected, at least from most sides. As they would pass through asteroid fields and debris fields, and things like that. So, and that's what they used to migrate. And the Pleiadians were the same. All life, human life per se, in our galaxy began that way, by using these asteroids, these ships, these hollowed out asteroids as ships. And some of them were large; they were moon-sized pieces, and that's how it got started. And they still have many of these ships today. They are, in fact, in Zenite, they have many of them used. They're parked around other planets and moons, and they are now used for education, historical perspectives and references. They are also loaned out for specific expeditions, I'm told, science expeditions. They have, of course, all been upgraded. And some teams, let's say a group from Altar showed up, and they got stuck somewhere. They would loan them one of these asteroids, and they would say, okay, go to your destination, and when you get there, let us know. And then they would go and retrieve the asteroid and bring it back. So it's almost like a Zenite rent-a-car. And the Pleiadians started exactly the same way. Many civilizations started this way. And again, it just goes to show that humanity, we have this strong desire to survive. We will figure it out if we're given the time to figure it out. So, and we have good genes in us. I mean, we're the sum total of 22 different races. When we get our shit together, oh boy, are we going to be, we're going to be something to reckon with. We really are, because we have this enormous, incredible gene pool with all this cellular memory, genetic data. And it's not just one lifetime, it's millions of years. So, and then when you attach when you attach the soul to those bodies, and the memory of all of the soul with all of its memories of different lifetimes living in different dimensions, yeah, we're different. We're different.
I'd love to come to Elena and ask you a question, darling.
Yes,
hearing
sure.
everything that Alex is sharing, and again, none of us planned, no agenda, we haven't swapped intel, we're just being real and organic as we all are. Elena, how does the intel that Alex is sharing with us, how does it compare to your own personal and physical experiences?
Oh my God, it resonates with so many things. I don't know a lot about the Zene or Zenate, but I can speak about my own experience. The smells. Oh my God, I've been to different facilities run by different races, species, I have to say. The ones, the Ginvo facility on Ganymede, it smells like sulfur. The first time I went there, I went, oh my God, I'm gonna need to, there was no choice. I needed to get on, like suck it up and just, that's it, breathe it. So, and you get used to it because you really make an effort. That's a different smell. And on board Thorhan's mothership, it's one of the motherships of the Federation. They have plenty. It's a military station. There's a quarter for the Egaroth, and because each species has their own mothership, because they recreate their own environmental conditions with pressure, air, everything, and so they're comfortable and they really relax on it. But when they visit other species environments, they wear these belts, these frequency belts, which are going to adapt the physiology to the environment. Different environment. So the day I went to visit the Egaroth quarters on the ship where Thorhan lives, a huge ship. Yes, I was put this belt, but the smell, it smelled like ozone. And one of my friends, Anax, is an Egaroth, and I suddenly realized when I'm close to him, his skin smells like ozone. And I always wondered all my life why I love the smell of ozone so much. I have, in my early 20s, I bought this Tesla sphere, makes like, lightning pink stuff. And when you approach your hand, it creates ozone. And I was like sniffing it, like, I was always like, zzz. And why do I love ozone so much? It's because Anax put a little bit of his DNA in me when I was an embryo to adapt my DNA. He did that. He's my Egaroth father. So I have a bit of Egaroth DNA in me. That's why ozone, I love it so much. It's the smells. It's absolutely that really resonated with me. And many other things that I forget you said, but the smell that just struck me. Oh yes, yes, yes. And all these species, different species running around. And yeah, when they're not in their environment, they wear these belts. Yeah. So that's just what I want to say.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Can bet Alex a naughty story.
Please, I don't want to be the focus of this.
Well, a naughty story that you shared just popped into my memory.
A naughty story.
A naughty story. Alex, can you please share what happens if you need to pass gas
Oh
and
my
you're
God, you're not going to do this to me. You're not going to do this to me.
it's so,
Oh my God,
so funny.
I owe you. Oh my God. Yeah, this got me into the Andromedan Hall of Shame.
Oh my God.
Oh, I had a surprise contact, and I was in California at the time, Malibu. I had a surprise contact, and I had had Mexican food late in the afternoon. That was my supper. And you know what beans will do, okay? So refried beans. So yeah, I'm on board and I'm wearing the belts and I have my field, my modified field, and I broke wind. And you could see it bounce inside my field all over the place. And he just looked at me and just shook his head, you know, and thank God the smell didn't get out, you know, it didn't get past the field. But I couldn't hide the fact that it was bouncing around, you know. So yeah, I should have been fired at that point, but they didn't. I probably should have been fired for that. But yeah, that was definitely a Hall of Shame moment.
That's so funny. Oh, Alex, you're such a good sport, mate. Thanks for sharing that story. Wow, hilarious, hilarious.
Oh, like I had a choice, right?
Oh, thank you. Alex, when you beam on board, as you have done many times throughout your entire life, what does it feel like physically inside the human vessel?
It's almost as if you're being pulled up through a vacuum. But what's interesting is that it's almost inside out. You feel like you're being pulled up from the inside first, and then your physical body follows you. But when you get there, you're there. Now, the first couple of times when it happened as a kid, when they would put the buckle on me, they would hold me because my body hadn't adjusted to it, and it would typically fall over. I would fall down because I didn't know what was happening. My body just simply didn't know. But as I became more and more of an adult, my body became accustomed to it. So when I would, it's almost as if you're pulled inside out, and then when you get up to the level where you're supposed to be, and they clip the belt around you, you're fine. You know. Then what you do is you adapt. It takes just a few seconds for the belt to adapt, or my body to adapt to the belt, and then what happens is the oxygen field adjusts. But what's interesting is that I can pull oxygen from their ship through the field, and when I do that, which is why I can hear that smell. There's this really sweet smell, and I can't identify it here at all anywhere. But I can pull oxygen because they breathe oxygen. Their oxygen content is higher, but the belt adjusts and adapts the oxygen that I'm pulling through to that which would be accustomed to Earth. Now, what's interesting is that the oxygen content that I pull through is somewhere around 15 to 17%. It's higher than what we have here on Earth. And I was told that at times I could feel woozy. That's not the word they used, but just I would feel unsure or something to that effect. And it would only be because my body has to adjust to the oxygen. And I said, well, why would it be so high? He said, actually, that is appropriate for your bodies. So the oxygen content of Earth should be higher. And that has been a process that has been done intentionally to create more CO2 and less oxygen because they wanted us to become more sick. which is why they lower, you keep lowering the oxygen level, the human bodies get sick. So the higher the oxygen content, the less we get sick. So, and yet at the same time, they try to punish us because the CO2 is too high. When in fact, they've been doing it. They have been terraforming the planet for another race and trying to steal it from us by lowering the cost of oxygen content in that way.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean, there's just so many things where we have been so misled and fed such horseshit about what's really been going on. I don't know. I had a thought in my head and it just went away.
Well, let me ask.
Old age, I guess.
Not
It's
at
lack
all.
of oxygen, you know.
Oh my God. Let me ask Elena the same question. Elena, when you
Yes.
are beamed up and, you know, meeting the benevolence, how does it physically feel in your body?
Well, first there's an adjustment. I feel dizzy. It's like when you take a lift, and a very high speed lift, and you go like, when you arrived at the level, at the floor, you go like, whoo, in yourself, like you're like moving inside, and you feel a bit dizzy and disorientated. You lose the settings in space, you know. And then well, the belt is put on me, and or sometimes sometimes it just adjusts by itself, but it takes time, and it's just like woo, a bit wobbly, I'd say, but it doesn't last a long time, a few seconds, I'd say. Yeah. And then, well, the first thing I do is funny. Well, I don't know why I do that. I tap my feet on the floor. I go toom toom. Yes, that's solid ground. I'm in the ship. I need to tap my feet. Toom toom. Yes, I'm in the ship. And then I went, yes, I'm in it. Yes.
Oh my God.
But I need always to tap my feet to feel the solidity of the floor. It's funny I do that.
Wow.
I
Just to
don't
know
why I
that
do
you're
that.
in the body and solids. You're actually solid on board. That's so powerful. Alex, there was a time in your life where you spent more than, I think it was around 3 months, correct me if I'm wrong in a second, you spent 3 months on board an Andromedan vessel. Now, the time that you were there, how much time in Earth minutes or hours was that, 3 months?
I don't know. I've never bothered to figure it out, but you know, the actual time that I was awake wasn't a great deal. You know, it was interesting because I was on, my body cycle was in an earth vibration. At the very beginning, you know, I would have to sleep. There would be a point where my body would just like, I need to retire. And I would be taken to my quarters. And I remember Mornay saying to me that there were women who were concerned for me. They thought maybe I was ill because I was sleeping so much, and he had to explain to them that, you know, my body cycle was different because of where we lived, which told me that some of the people on the starship weren't really interested in what was going on here. You know, not everybody was interested. You know, they were all just off doing their own thing, but they were aware that I was sleeping a lot. And I also think that, you know, part of that was my body just dealing with a completely different environment and a different gravity. You know, when I'm with them and I have to come back to Earth, it's like going from feeling like Superman to walking in jello. You know, you get here and then all of a sudden your body's just so heavy. Where there, you know, when I'm up there with them, my body feels bigger, it feels lighter, I feel taller. And what it is it's my energy field. It can expand. It's free to expand and just how do I put this? It is the most exhilarating, freeing expression that I've ever felt or could express. I, whenever I'm up there, I feel safer than I would ever feel down here. And I don't have any aches and pains. It's almost as if I don't even feel my body. It just moves. You know, I think and it moves. And you know, and that's been an issue because that's why I don't want to come back a lot of times. I just don't want to do it unless, like, you know, yeah, it's exactly what it is. You know, I feel stuck and I feel real small, very contained and compressed. And I would rather not be any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elena, when you visit your benevolence, which is, as we know, as you shared, a regular occurrence, what is the time frequency like from leaving the body, beaming up and coming back?
You mean the time it takes to go there?
Yeah, and also if you're up there for 4 hours, is it the same kind of, I know time is different, that's what I'm trying to establish here. What is the difference? Like, would you be missed?
I don't know, because it often happens in the night. So I never try to figure out the time, but I know the time is different. But I come back in the same night. That's something in fact, I don't think about the time difference. There's so much more going on emotionally that I don't think about measuring the time, but I know it's different. I always come back in the same night, even if I spend more time.
Amazing. A lot of people are so fascinated by our off-planet brothers and sisters. They want to know things like, do they go to the bathroom either on their planets, and they were told in the ships it's slightly different. Do they go to the bathroom? Do they shave? Do they shower? Do they do similar things to us Earth people?
They don't drink alcohol because it's such a lower down frequency, and it burns the system. They don't do that. But I've been with them, and they drink, they call that ionized drinks. It's a liquid that's ionized so much, it's ionized and it's filled with oxygen, and when you drink it, you become very tipsy. It's like if you had you know, it's the first time I just felt like if I was disintegrated, because yes, it raises the frequency a little bit, and you feel the molecules are just like expanding or dissolving. But yeah, every time they present me this kind of conical glasses, and I go like, I don't know. Surprising the first time, it doesn't feel good. It's surprising, shocking.
Alex?
I've seen them drink, but I have no idea what it is. I know when it came to me and I was thirsty, they would always have water for me that was exactly the cleanest. It would be like distilled water with nutrients in it that my body could absorb, and that was the only thing I was allowed to drink. Now, as far as them going to the bathroom, they wear these uniforms that pretty much do everything. I did not see any locker room for men or for women. I never saw. I had in my quarters, I had a toilet for my waste. I didn't have a uniform, but I've never seen them use the bathroom. And from what I understand is that the uniform that they wear that is eventually not only self-cleaning, but self-healing and self-repairing. And one uniform can last them years and years and years before they swap it out. Typically, the only changes that are made is as they're growing up, they move to a different size. And then once they become an adult, a full-grown adult, then they go to a different type of a uniform. But and of course the women wear something different. Some of them wear a uniform, but some of them also wear these amazing gowns made of material. I can't even tell you what it is, except that the gowns, they have a light to them. They have a presence. It's almost as if they're alive. The material is alive on them, and it shimmers and it glows and it changes colors we don't even have on our spectrum down here. So the women are far more interesting to look at as far as their dress. The men, it's pretty much a uniform of some sort. And
Wow. So no showering.
I mean,
really,
I didn't ask him, hey, I never felt like it was appropriate. Do you pee in your uniform? Or, I simply wouldn't go there,
yeah.
and ask them that. So my presumption is that the uniform kind of does it all,
Mm. And are they wearing a uniform specifically in the military operation? Like, are we talking about their basic home planets where they might wear different attire? Or are we talking about, people in general who have a military duty to perform to help protect, their galaxy, this galaxy, etc.?
Well, the uniforms, I believe that depending upon your position within the community, they're different colors and have a slightly different style. But I've never been to the home world, so I don't know about that. I've only been to the mothership. But in all ways, I understand that it mimics what happens on the home world. They keep this consistency throughout the civilization. The law of consistency, where this is how they do things, and of course they will stay within that basic structure. But of course, they're extremely adaptable to different situations, and they do whatever is necessary when it's time to do it. But everybody just seems so happy.
Mm.
It's whatever it is that they're doing, their intent, but they seem to do it from a place where they absolutely don't have a care in space. They have not a care in the world and worrying about anything. Getting back to the food, I had that one wafer experience, and that was the first and the only time that they would ever give me anything that wasn't from Earth, or wasn't created to be exactly like that which is on Earth for me. I will say that for the 91 days that I was there, I didn't eat any meat. I had fruit, and I had a type of vegetable that was a combination between a cucumber and lettuce. That's the closest thing I could tell you. Or I could say it tasted and it seemed like the same two consistencies together. But I would have half of one and I'd be full for quite a while. And, in that 91 days, I had lost about 18 pounds up there. And when they brought me back, it was only like 11 and a half, 12 minutes or something from the time that I left to the time they brought me back. So, I was back in time to make my car payment, pay the car insurance,
Oh,
phone
God.
bill, all that shit that that you just get so excited about,
Mhm. Oh my goodness! Wow, that's just amazing.
And whenever that would happen, I'd hear Faseus in the back of my head, say, Alex, why do you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on? And well, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we have around 4 minutes left, and I would love to, in closing, and I just want to thank you all so much for making the time to be here. Elena, just again in referencing your incredible, groundbreaking book that has so much information that humanity needs right now. And in the opening pages, and Alex is already communicating, be quiet, Danny, no, sorry, not going to happen. In the opening forward there.
Can I mute you?
No, no, it's my channel. Elena did a special paragraph dedicated to you. And would you like to mention that, Elena?
Well,
like being put on the spot, huh?
I wasn't expecting that. No, she trapped us, Alex. She trapped us. she trapped us. Okay.
No, you know I love you guys.
I wasn't expecting. So where is it? Okay. Wasn't expecting this.
You don't have to read it. You can just
no,
tell
I think
her
it's a nice it's a nice thing. I want to acknowledge also with a certain emotion the support and encouragement of kind and wise friends who became mentors in this adventure. Alex Collier, the father I never had. You prepared the groundwork for the coming of the army from the stars. We are here now and we salute you, Commander, for your bravery and sacrifices. You had the harshest task. It is with honor that we are walking now in your footsteps. We are all very proud of you.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go. And all jokes apart, I just want to say I'm so honored to call you my friends, you know, off the internet. I am so blown away by who you are as beings. And I know there are millions of people, if they could say thank you right now, they would be saying thank you for all the hardships, all the sacrifices. Nobody really, truly, deeply knows what each one of you have endured thus far. And it's just, I think, a beautiful way to end, you know, ending on the note of love. And I'm sure that when we have less than a minute here, I would just love again to give love and thanks to you all, and I'm going to put all of your details and contacts and everything. And if you guys were open again, I would love to have another reconnect. Thank you all so much. Any final words from any of you?
Elena, it's always a joy and a pleasure. Keep doing the work. Don't let the detractors, don't even pay them any mind. There's always idiots. There's always going to be idiots. You just stay focused on what you're here to do, and eventually they will just go away. And Danny, you are a handful.
Thank you.
You are a handful. Ladies, it's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
God
Bye-bye.
bless. See you soon. Bye-bye.